How you doing? This is Frank. Today we're going to talk about subconscious at the workforce. So it's office communication at the subconscious level. It's a big mouth word. But what we're going to talk about is how to communicate with somebody that you feel like you're not getting across well, or maybe things are not coming out clear with them. And I'm here to say that what happens is that there's some people that are very connected to their body. I call them very southern polarity, okay? Very, let's say personal space is not big for them. Let's say they have maybe a lot of friends and stuff like that. They're very connected to the body in the sense like they're always hot. Okay, my individuals are southern polarity, have a tendency to talk a lot and not get to the point. And when they're talking a lot and not getting to the point, they kind of lose a lot of certain people. And then they get comments like, "God, just get to the point already." And nobody wants to hear that. So if you're a southern polarity and you notice the person that's looking across from you and they're very, like their eyes, let's say I call it ordering donuts, they glaze over. Well, what happens is that you just kind of lost their interest. They're like just getting tired of the long story that you're giving. But what happens is people that are very connected to their body, the reason why they're telling such a long story is because as they're talking, they're thinking. So when somebody says get to the point, well, now you're cutting off their thinking. And who wants to be cut off? It doesn't feel good. So what in reality what it comes down to as an individual, you kind of have to readjust yourself. You got to realize that maybe you're not getting to the point quick enough. And usually if, let's say you have a boss, they're frustrated with you in that sense because you're not getting to the point. And time is money, obviously, but that's why you're at work. You got to produce and produce and produce. So what do you need to do? Well, you just kind of reevaluate things and you have to just get to the point. If you're going to share the story about how you got to a zoo, well, first say, the story is about the zoo, and this is how I got there. Well, you got the gist, and now you can tell a funny story. Now, people that are my opposites, that are always in their heads and are always overthinking or analyzing, well, those people are very what we call northern polarity. They're usually complaining that it's too cold in the room, personal space is big for them, and career and finances are really big for them. So what they have a tendency to do is they overanalyze, overthink, and they're my, hey, get to the point already, talkers. All right, or they're the ones that are very, how you say, so far in their head that they have a lot of conversation. They go A to Z and never get to the point. Excuse me, go to A to Z, but as soon everybody knows what they're thinking. So my northern polarities, when they do that overanalyzing, overthinking, I need you guys to really share with the world what you're thinking, because we can't read your brain, plain and simple. So if you're overanalyzing, overthinking, and you notice the person you're talking to kind of goes, well, it's kind of, we call it abreaction, but it's a different conversation. And what it means is that you said something that was very maybe direct and threw them off. So I want you to take it upon yourself to think about, okay, what I just said, how can I convey it better? Or maybe I just need to share what I'm thinking. You're the one that says, I was at the zoo. All right, well, the person that you're across from, especially the southern polarity, they need more than that. They need like, oh, really, you're at the zoo? What happened at the zoo? Well, I saw this animal, it's a funny orangutan, whatever you call it, whatever's going on. So what happens? My northern and southern polarity people have a tendency to clash. One says get to the point, the other one says, hey, let me talk. So they have all this conversation in their head. They're overanalyzing, over-talking, and there's a whole bunch of conflict. All make peace, because our reality is what we see out here. We internalize everything. So if you have a boss, and usually my bosses are northern polarity, they're super career-oriented, I want you to say, hey, I know you said this, but I need more information because it's not making sense to me. If somebody's really connected to their bodies and they're talking too much, say, hey, I definitely enjoy the way you explain things. It's amazing. But I do need the points first because I'm very detail-oriented, and then I need the following information. It's just how you're going to coach the individual to help you have a happier life. and either one, let me just tell you right now, not one's better than the other. Not at all. So what do we have? Northern, southern polarity and how they communicate. And I'm going to give you one little nugget so you have a little, I guess, another feather in your cap, I guess is the saying, is that I want you to realize that there's different ways in how people actually internalize information. Some people are very visual. My visual people look up all the time. They're just looking up here, looking for the image, or they close their eyes and they look for an image and they're like, oh, this is the answer. Those are my photographic memory people. People that look to the side a lot and touch their face are actually we call very auditorial. They're actually pulling their ear to listen better. And then you have kinesthetic people. They're very hands-on. Men usually have very deep voices, and they're my feelers. People look up, you say things, so you see what I'm talking about. Be much clearer. Somebody looks to the side, how does that sound? Somebody's kinesthetic, you say, how does that feel? If you have a boss that constantly looks up, Well, what I want you to do is to say things, do you see what I'm talking about? Do you see what I'm going to? And give them something to look at. Somebody that's very auditorial, you say, hey, how does that sound to you? Does that sound correct? Kinesthetic, somebody very hands-on, you give them something to hold and tell them, how does that feel to you? Does that feel correct? Now, you might be a combination of the two, and you just got to go off of the ones that they're constantly going to and they're constantly doing. Sometimes you look up and look to the side. Okay? So now, if you want information, please give me a call or send me an email at frankw.banos@gmail.com. And my website is Finding Life's Compass. All right? Talk to you guys soon. Have a wonderful, great day.